few videos back, I told you to calculate your net worth.
So I did mine. On camera, no editing out the awkward parts. Here's exactly what I found and what surprised me. If you haven't watched the net worth video yet, quick recap. Net worth is everything you own minus everything you owe. It's the one number that actually shows if you're building wealth. I started with assets, everything of value I actually own. My checking and savings accounts came to a few $1,000s. My investment account, since I started the $100 a month plan from earlier in this series, had grown to a modest but real number. And I found an old retirement account from a previous job that I'd honestly forgotten about. It added more than I expected. Adding it all up took maybe 10 minutes, and some of it genuinely surprised me. Then came the harder part, listing every debt. Student loans made up the bulk of it. I also had a small credit card balance I hadn't fully paid off that month. This is the part most people avoid doing, because it feels uncomfortable to see it all in one place. Add it up, no hiding from it. Subtract debt from assets, and that's the real number. For me, it landed in negative territory, mostly because of the student loans. And that's okay. It's a starting point, not a verdict. A few things stood out. First, that forgotten retirement account added more than I expected. A reminder to actually track every account you have, not just the ones you check often. Second, my debt was smaller than I'd mentally built it up to be. Sometimes. The number in your head is scarier than the number on paper. And third, even a negative net worth felt clarifying rather than defeating, once I could see it clearly instead of avoiding it. Based on what I found, here's what I'm adjusting going forward. Increasing my automated investing contribution now that I know exactly how much room I have. Putting a bit more toward the credit card balance so it's fully gone next month. And setting a calendar reminder to recalculate this number every quarter instead of never. The number itself isn't the point. The point is that now I know exactly where I stand, and so should you. You can't improve what you don't measure. If you haven't calculated yours yet, this is your sign. Drop your number, or just whether it surprised you, in the comments. Subscribe for what's next.
Everyone talks about retiring comfortably, but almost nobody can tell you an actual number. Today, I'm giving you the formula financial planners actually use to calculate exactly how much you need. It's called the 4% rule, and it's simpler than you'd think. Everything in this series so far, the $100 plan, the index funds, avoiding lifestyle inflation, has been building toward this number. This is the finish line all of it points to, the idea. If you have your money invested, you can typically withdraw about 4% of your total portfolio per year in retirement without running out of money over a 30-year retirement. Because your remaining investments keep growing to replace what you withdraw. Flip that math around, and you get your retirement number. Take your desired annual spending in retirement, multiply it by 25. That's roughly how much you need invested to sustain that lifestyle using the 4% rule. If you want $40,000 a year to live on in retirement, you'd need roughly $1,000 invested. Want $60,000 a year instead? That's roughly $2,500,000. The number scales directly with how much you plan to spend annually. This might sound massive right now, but remember, this is the power of what we've covered in this series. Starting with even $100 a month in your 20s, increasing it as your income grows, and letting compound growth do the heavy lifting over 30 to 40 years, gets you much closer to this number than most people realize. This isn't a perfect guarantee. It's a guideline based on historical market averages. And things like major market downturns, early in retirement, healthcare costs, or unusually long lifespans can affect it. Most planners suggest treating 4% as a reasonable starting estimate, not an exact promise. Now you have an actual number to work toward. Not just a vague idea of having enough someday. That changes everything about how you plan. Do the math for your own desired retirement spending this week and see how far your current plan already gets you. Subscribe for what's next.
How inflation is quietly stealing your money. If your money is just sitting in a regular checking account, it's losing value right now, even though the number on the screen never goes down. Here's the silent force doing it, and why playing it safe, with cash, is actually one of the riskiest things you can do long term. Back in the emergency fund video, I said not to oversave in cash once your fund is built. This is exactly why inflation is the reason. Inflation is simply prices rising over time. The same $20 that filled a shopping cart a decade ago buys noticeably less today. It's not a conspiracy or a rare event. It's a constant, ongoing force in the economy, usually running around 2 to 4% a year, sometimes higher. Here's the part most people miss. If inflation is running at 3% a year and your money is sitting in a regular account earning 0.1% interest, you're effectively losing about 2.9% of your money's real value every single year, even though the number in your account never drops. Over just 10 years at 3% inflation, something that costs 5 million today will cost roughly $134. If your savings aren't growing at least as fast as prices are rising, you're falling behind in real terms, even while your account balance looks unchanged or even grows slightly. This is exactly why everything earlier in this series pointed toward investing instead of just saving. Historically, the stock market has returned more than inflation over the long run, which means invested money doesn't just keep its value, it actually grows in real purchasing power terms. This doesn't mean cash is bad. Your emergency fund and short-term savings should stay in cash, because that money needs to be accessible without risk. This is specifically about money you don't need for years. That's the money inflation quietly erodes if it's just sitting still. Cash feels safe because the number never drops. But safety isn't just about the number staying the same. It's about what that number can actually buy. And against inflation, sitting still is its own kind of risk. Check how much of your long-term savings is sitting in cash right now. If it's more than your emergency fund needs, that's money that could be working harder for you. Subscribe for what's next.